Voila! One of the things that separates the Gladiator Rubicon with the Gladiator Mojave is this right here, and the lack of a bed rock rail or a bed slider. This is just a plastic bumper that comes on the Mojave, and it doesn't come with any sort of rock protection for the bed. Now, they provided rock rails on the side on the cab of the Mojave, which is great. It's like they knew you were going to take it, do some sort of off-roading with it. But they didn't do that here like they did with the Rubicon. Now, there's some aftermarket options to help remedy this, but I was able to score some takeoffs from a Rubicon Gladiator that I found. It came with the metal bumper as well as the Mopar hitch that comes on models that have the tow package. Now, this didn't come with a hitch. It does have a Crossmember underneath there that you can mount like a ball hitch to, and then also a receiver. You can bolt those in, but I kind of wanted the whole welded setup that comes on the actual tow package for the Jeep Gladiator. So today I'm going to replace this plastic factory bumper, Mojave bumper, with the steel Rubicon Gladiator bumper, the rock rails, and the brackets that connect them, as well as install the factory tow hitch. And Brooke, why do you fill that with water? Now, to do this job, there's a couple of bolts on here and here that attach this plastic bumper to the frame rails. And there's a couple of bolts behind here that we're gonna have to undo. Now, this install isn't super cut and dry. I did have to track down some additional hardware in order to do this. One thing, on the steel bumper, there's a couple of places, there's a couple holes that you need to fasten to the hitch cross member. And there's a couple of holes in the cross member. There's no place to fasten into, so you have to get a Rivnut, a hex-shaped Rivnut installed. So I had to track some of those down and tracked a Rivnut tool to install it into the receiver, the hitch cross member. And also on this hitch cross member that attaches to the frame, when attaching these brackets for the bed sliders, there's a bolt that goes through that cross member, and you don't have that unless you have the one with those bed sliders. So I had to track those bolts down as well. I was able to get them at a local Jeep dealership and make some accommodations there. But we're not quite at that point yet. I'll show you that a little when we get to that point of the install. The first thing we're going to do is remove these two bolts right here using a 16mm socket, and it's going to have to be a deep socket. I've got a 16mm deep socket. The exhaust kind of gets in the way back here. And we're going to do this to the passenger side as well. You can already see that bumper's getting pretty loose. We have a couple of wiring harnesses. One's for the 7-pin harness for your trailer, and the other one here is going to be for your license plate lights. And we're going to have to undo a lot of these little clips here. And I got a special tool to use that, but you could probably also use a flathead screwdriver to get these off. We're going to have to get them off here on the cross member as well. Having this tool really helps. All right, got those two harnesses out. Now I just got to get the screws on the bumper out. Now these are also 16mm. All right. The bumper now should come right off. Voila! All right, just taking a moment here to see what we're working with. This is the factory cross member that comes with the Jeep Gladiator Mojave, or probably any model that does not have the trailer tow package. You can see here, this is where you can attach an aftermarket receiver. A few on the market that go right here. We're going to be reusing these so we can fasten those 2 bolts behind the license plate on the new bumper. So we got 2 bolts here to take out. There's 2 underneath as well, and that's on both sides. Now I'm going to reuse these orange tow hooks. I want to keep this Mojave a Mojave, and I'll install these on the new bumper. I think I'll go ahead and uninstall these now that right now, as this is still fastened in here. But yeah, we're going to reuse the tow hooks. Now if you just got a Sport or Overland, I think there's just 1 rear tow hook, so it doesn't look like there's a need to take out the spare tire, at least as of yet, but we'll see. All right, these bolts are 21 millimeters. We've got a 21 millimeter socket, 1/2-inch ratchet. Might need a breaker bar for these, but we'll see. Leave that on there just so this doesn't fly out. You're going to save this hardware if you're going to reinstall these. Now we're going to do the same on the other side. All right, now we're going to remove the 2 bolts here on top. They're 21 millimeter. Not too tight, actually. This is where I need to get something to support this. I might put a couple jack stands. Voila! All right, I got 2 of these Hitch assemblies sitting side by side just to kind of compare, and they look pretty much identical in terms of thickness and construction. It's just this doesn't come with a receiver. I don't know why you'd build a truck without it, but one thing Jeep likes to do is kind of nickel and dime you on the options. Don't make a lot of things standard, but I mean the Mojave, certain packages come with certain things, but then you gotta order, in order to get certain features, you gotta get different packages usually. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to install this now. I might, in the ones that have the Rubicon with this toe assembly, it has a sleeve welded in here. And what I've done, I've read in a thread online in a forum that if you use some conduit, you can build your own sort of sleeve. So I've already done that. This is a 1/2-inch conduit, just picked up at Home Depot. And I measured the width here. It happens to be right at just over 2.5 inches. Of course, 2 and 4/5, 6/10. Of course, 1/10 of that, or 2/10 needs to be accounted for the washers I'm going to use on each side. And it's going to go right there. Well, I've decided to wait until after I've installed the new Crossmember, and then connect it to the frame, then fasten those fasteners, because maybe the tolerance in that metal might change just a little bit. Once that's on, then I'll kind of remeasure it and see exactly where I need to cut that metal conduit to make a sleeve. You need something to stop me. That one went all the way through. Let me get some of the bottom ones on. Not going to tighten these too much, just enough to support, make sure the holes line up. Like this isn't. I can do this. I didn't scratch it up too bad. I'm not going to torque these all the way down yet. Now that we got those fastened, we can remove the jack. Room to work with now. Put these clips back in here because you want to be able to fasten that new steel bumper. This might also be a good time to install or reinstall your factory tow hooks if you do want to keep them. Sure what to torque these to, but I'm sure it's an insanely high number, probably 160 plus foot-pounds. Okay, now I'm going to install the driver's side bed slider bracket. This will attach to the frame on this side, and this one right down here ties into the hitch cross member, and then the slider attaches down here. This exhaust here isn't your friend. Hard to see this, but right there is where that one goes in, and there's one on the other side. Now this hardware I just sourced at Home Depot, metric M10. Okay, I've got my piece of 1/2 inch conduit here. Gonna measure off 2 4/10 of an inch. Okay, sorry I didn't get any footage of it, but this is the sleeve, and you can see it fit really snug. It's better to have it slightly smaller than to have it too big, because then you can't fit the washers in there, and I had a hard time trying to fit them in there. I actually had to grind some of that off, but now it's nice and tight with that factory bolt connecting the rock rail bracket to the hitch cross member here. This is the driver's side, and this is the passenger side. In order to install the rear factory steel bumper to the back of a non-Rubicon Jeep Gladiator, a pair of M10 hex Rivnuts must be installed on the rear hitch crossmember. Now, I had gone to my local Harbor Freight and purchased this specific Rivnut setter kit in advance, only to later find out that it did not accommodate the Rivnuts in the size that I needed. So I consulted the internet and found out how to create a makeshift Rivnut setter using basic tools and a piece of metal that I stole from the Rivnut setter kit. If you'd like to create your own, I will post a link to the video I used to create this in the description. Although arduous and more cumbersome, this tool did get the job done. Well, it looks like it worked. I just need to do this side now. One thing I'm going to do is I'm going to reuse the 7-pin, 4-pin bracket off my old bumper. Now, I've already taken this off, but I just used a pair of needle nose pliers to push this clip in. And at the same time, you push down and do it on either side and it'll pop out. And then it just right in the steel bumpers opening there. And I don't have the parking or backup sensors on the Mojave. So I'm gonna have these empty holes here. In order to plug those in, I bought this nylon hole plug set off Amazon. I'm probably gonna have to take this out in order to plug it. It's like you just pinch it from the back and it pops out. Perfect finish too, really matches. You're going to take these same 16mm nuts that we took off earlier. Got those holes to line up. All right, now we're gonna take this 17mm M10 bolt and washer and then fasten it where I installed these Rivnuts. Gotta be careful not to over tighten these. This is more just it's like it adds support and connects the bumper with the cross member here. Now we can take the passenger side rock rail and hopefully line this up right. rock solid. Ooh. So as you can see, we've added some much needed functionality and pretty good looks, I'd say. I really like the fit and finish of the stock Rubicon Gladiator steel bumper. And it's still functional, protects pretty well. I mean, is it good as an aftermarket? Probably not, but this will definitely give it some much better protection than the Mojave plastic bumper, as well as the rock rails, which are actually really stout, and they attach to the frame of the vehicle, so I am not worried there. And I also added the functionality of being able to tow, and I'll be able to tow the M1102 trailer again, which I'm really looking forward to, seeing how well this does with that. And it'll be interesting to see how much this thing sags from any added weight, you know, with the softer suspension, but that's all possible now. So all right, well, that completes the installation of the Rubicon factory steel bumper with bed rock rails and tow hitch receiver. I hope you found this helpful. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and we'll hopefully see you on some adventures with this here Gladiator. We'll see you next time.